So today it just looks like an empty field. You wouldn't think much of it if you walked by it. But many years ago, this place was a fenced military settlement holding thousands of captured sailors and soldiers. During the wars against revolutionary and Napoleonic France, Britain captured tens of thousands of enemy servicemen, French, Dutch and others fighting alongside them. Before camps like this existed, many prisoners were held on decommissioned warships, known as prison hulks. Conditions aboard these ships were often overcrowded and very unhealthy. By the late 1790s, the British government needed a more organised land-based solution. So in 1797, they built one right here. And that place was called Norman Cross. And it stayed operational until 1814. It consisted of 4 large wooden compounds, each surrounded by high timber palisade walls and guard towers. Inside were barrack blocks, kitchens, a hospital and even administrative buildings. And at its peak in 1810, there was an estimated 6,272 prisoners on this very site. Just think about that, almost 6,300 people stood where I stood today. Well, maybe not exactly where I'm standing, but they would have been standing in this very field. At its lowest recorded population in October 1804, the camp held 3,300 prisoners. And one of the best things about this is we still have artefacts that we can find in the Peterborough Museum to this very day. So it makes you wonder, at what point did this place become more like a settlement than it did a prison? Let me explain a little bit more. So here at the Peterborough Museum, we have the largest collection of artefacts from Norman Cross. The fascinating part is that the prisoners in Norman Cross were allowed to make and sell goods. The prisoners crafted items from bone, straw and wood. Prisoners made model ships, carved boxes, dominoes, tools and artwork showing amazing craftsmanship. And local civilians were permitted to visit markets inside the camp to buy these goods. Contemporary accounts describe the marketplace as lively, less like a prison yard and more like a controlled trading space. Many of the items behind me today survived because people loved them so much that they collected them. Families left them in their attics and many had them on display. But thankfully over the years the museum managed to collect them all and bring them here so that everyone can enjoy this amazing display of artefacts. So the takeaway here was that prisoners were able to adapt to their environment and they were able to make it work for them, and that's incredible. But this was still a prison camp, remember? And during the 17 years that it operated, almost 1,770 prisoners died on this very site and are actually still buried here to this day. So in places like these, the main form of death was normally by disease. Diseases like typhoid, just for an example, which actually are genuinely common for overcrowded military environments. So behind all of that amazing craftsmanship, there was still quite a significant loss in people. And there's this part of the story now. So just like modern prisons today, Norman Cross had high timber walls and it was guarded constantly. So the questions have got to be asked. Did escape attempts happen? And how did they happen? Let's go.
Back in you go, boy.
I'm there. And when you stand here now, it's almost impossible to imagine the tension that filled this land. Today, it's quiet, with the exception of a few horses. Right, okay, I get it. So you're wondering, how did people know what the site looked like and so on and so forth? Well, one very simple word: archaeology. The site was investigated by professional archaeologists, including an excavation featured in the long-running Channel Time Team in 2009. Excavations and geophysical surveys confirmed the layout of 4 compounds, structural potholes, drainage systems, and artefacts matching historical records. So it's documented in the archives and the soil right under my feet. But what really fascinates me about Norman Cross is that it doesn't look dramatic, and it doesn't need to be, I guess. Because there's no defensive walls, there's no guard towers. It's just grass, as far as the eye can see. But beneath this ground stood one of Britain's first purpose-built prisoner of war camps during the Napoleonic times. It was a place of confinement and disease. But more importantly, there was adaptation. You see, these men that were imprisoned here made a situation work for them, and that's impressive in my eyes. So the prison held and buried thousands. But in 1814, it was completely dismantled, almost completely erased. And to me, I think that's a little bit scary, because the way I look at it is as the place never even existed, like the people never even mattered. So the next time you drive or walk past the field, ask yourself, could this field have held something? Could this field have a quiet history hidden behind it? Because you see, history doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to stand out for you to know it was there. Because sometimes it just needs to whisper underneath the grass. And I think that grass is amazing. I wonder if you think the same. I want to firstly thank the Peterborough Museum and Art Gallery for allowing me to record inside the museum. I honestly had to rewrite and re-record this entire Norman Cross video to make it work in with the museum, because I didn't think I was ever going to get permission, but I was ecstatic when they allowed me, so thank you so much. But I also want to thank every single one of you for watching this video. If you've made it this far, hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned a little bit more history, and hopefully I got to entertain you just a little bit as well. I hope you like, subscribe, and even share. That would be amazing. And hopefully we can go on more adventures together and I can show you more amazing places. So thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, but first, where do you think I should go next? Comment below. I would love to see where you recommend. See you next time!